Well, it's an honor to be with you today. Somewhat a miracle, right? To be back in Israel and Jerusalem. My flight was on Monday, sitting in the airport in JFK. Are we going? We're not going? We going? We're not going? But we're here. And I thank God for it. Jürgen, thanks for having me. Thanks for this conference and for all you're doing. As we gather here with our friends at the ICEJ to discuss anti-Semitism, theology, and the future of the church, I want to focus on a threat that is reshaping all three: the information war. It's a fight for whose worldview will prevail. For most of human history, wars were fought on land, at sea, and in the air. Today, there's a fourth battlefield, the battlefield of information. October 7th revealed this reality in shocking clarity. The world watched as Hamas committed unspeakable atrocities against innocent men, women, and children. But almost immediately, another battlefield emerged. A battle over interpretation, a battle over narrative, a battle over truth itself. Within hours, social media platforms were flooded with manipulated videos, false claims, fabricated stories, and coordinated propaganda campaigns. The objective was not simply to spread misinformation. The objective was to create confusion, because confusion has become a weapon. The goal of modern propaganda is not often to convince people of one particular lie. It's to convince them that truth itself cannot be known. If enough competing narratives exist, many people simply disengage. They conclude that everyone is lying, that no source is trustworthy, that reality itself is unknowable. And once society reaches this point, it becomes extraordinarily vulnerable. Now, let me offer an observation that may make a lot of us uncomfortable. Israel is not primarily losing ground on the left. We get that. We are losing ground because the conservative conversation on the right has changed. For decades, support of Israel among Americans was largely assumed. This is no longer true. The growing segment of young conservatives increasingly views everything through a single question: is it America first? That question dominates large portions of the online conversations today. You see it in the conversation surrounding Tucker Carlson. You see it in Candace Owens' audience. You see it in Nick Fuentes and the Grover movement. And you see it in portions of the MAGA movement. You see it in the foreign policy arguments advanced by voices like Nick Fisher and others who increasingly ask whether Americans' interests are being subordinated to the interest of other nations. Whether we agree with these arguments or not isn't the point. The point is that millions of Americans, conservative, Christian Americans, are listening to them. They are asking the questions: why are we funding Israel? Why are we involved? What is this to the American interest? What does it mean to me and my family? What does it mean to me and my community? What does it mean for my country? Are the Jews still loved by God? These questions can't simply be dismissed. But increasingly, these questions are being mixed with things that are far more dangerous: conspiracy, falsehood, suspicion, and in some case, hate itself. What begins as a debate about foreign policy quickly becomes a debate about Jewish influence. What begins as a discussion about aid can quickly become a discussion about secret control. What begins as skepticism can become cynicism. And cynicism is fertile ground for false witness. The Jewish people have seen this pattern before. The technology changes, the platform changes, the slogan changes, but the accusations remain remarkably familiar. This is why I believe the information war ultimately isn't a technology problem. It's a moral problem. In the modern West, we speak consistently about misinformation, fake news, deep fakes, and so on. Scripture uses a different phrase, false witness. The 9th commandment states, "You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor." This commandment was not suspended when social media was invented. It was not suspended when the podcasters became popular. It was not suspended when artificial intelligence emerged. Every fabricated claim about Israel is a false witness. Every manipulated video is a false witness. Every conspiracy theory presented as fact is a false witness. Every accusation made without evidence is a false witness. And Christians should be the first people willing to say so. A lie doesn't become the truth just because it has 10 million views. A lie doesn't become the truth just because some conservative influencer said it. A lie does not become the truth. It confirms just because it confirms our bias. Truth remains truth. A false witness remains a false witness. Now, here's where I believe the misunderstanding of the battlefield really is. For years, we've heard this phrase, this common phrase, if the people would only come to Israel, they would understand. I believe that's true. I believe if Americans could come here, walk the streets, meet the people, meet hostage families, see the memorials, worship alongside other Christians, that would be true. Many minds would be changed. But there's a strategic problem. The people influencing the public square are not coming. The next generation is not receiving its worldview from people who visit Israel. They're receiving their worldview from visiting podcast studios. They're receiving it from TikTok, from YouTube, and from X, from live streams and algorithms. And many of these influencers shaping young conservative audiences will never come on a delegation trip. They're not attending policy briefings. They're not reading white papers. And if our strategy depends on bringing them here, then we've already lost. The battle plan must change. We cannot fight a 21st century war with 20th century strategy. The battlefield is now the feed, the stream. The battlefield is the recommendation engine. It is the podcast queue. It is the smartphone. It is wherever people are consuming information. This means we must be deployed where people are, not where we wish they were. The battle needs to have a rapid response infrastructure. We need creators, not spokespeople. We need storytellers, not just diplomats. We need digital ministries and missionaries for truth and not just press officers. And the Christians need to help and lead this effort because ultimately it's not just about Israel. It's about whether society can still recognize truth. It's about whether the church will obey the 9th commandment in an age that rewards false witness. It's about whether Christians will value truth more than tribalism. Facts and engagement together, reality more than narrative. The information war is not simply won by having the truth. It will be won by being strategic, targeted, focused, and never giving up and never giving in. This is not about carpet bombing or shotguns anymore. It's not about blanket marketing. It is strategic, laser-focused targeting. It'll be won by those with the courage to defend it, the same way it's won on the battlefield. And it'll be won when we can unite together in this cause, because whether we recognize it or not, we are already together because we are equal enemies. And it'll be won because we serve the God of the universe. I'm in this battle till the very end to win it. I hope all of you are too. Thank you, and God bless.